we are ready to get started on what is going to be an exciting afternoon for all of us here. So again, so grateful for all of you for being here today. Good morning. My name is Stephanie Skilba, for those of you that don't know me, and I am the Vice President of Community and Government Relations here at Gateway Technical College. And I'm truly honored to be with you today to MC this event. You can definitely feel the energy in this space. You saw how long it took you all to be quiet. But this space is filled with family and friends and colleagues from across the country celebrating the retirement of Dr. Bryan Albrecht, the president of Gateway Technical College. We all know Bryan, and as this day was being coordinated, he was insistent on this not just being an acknowledgement of his work that he has done, but all that Gateway has to offer our communities. He didn't want it to be all about him, so that is why we are here in the middle of the day with activities and campus tours. And that is why he is currently up on the stage, because we could not let him get away without acknowledging the work that he has done and the incredible transformation that he has made to this college and to our communities. He will stand up here later and say that he did not do this alone, and he is right. He didn't do this on his own, but each one of us here today played a part in this legacy that he has created, and that is why we celebrate Bryan today as a true leader. I have worked with Bryan in some capacity for over 25 years and could use this time to share my own stories. Stories of conferences and subway travel, of Capitol visits and one lucky penny, storage of college projects that started on the back of a napkin, why we always come in last in golf outings, and just how we got our college mascot. But I won't. I will save those. Because today we have an opportunity to hear from a number of individuals that represent the many facets of the work that he has done in Wisconsin, in this community, with our incredible higher education partners, through the College Foundation and alumni, and with our business and industry leaders. So most of you know that before coming to Gateway, Bryan worked at the Department of Public Instruction, along with then Assistant State Superintendent Tony Evers. Bryan became the president of Gateway, and Tony became the governor of Wisconsin. So sounds like DPI was a great spot for them to start their careers. We are so very fortunate today to have Governor Evers with us to share a few words about Bryan. So please welcome Governor Tony Evers.
Well, thank you, everybody, and good morning. And I've known Bryan a long time. I could probably tell you all sorts of things that he doesn't want me to say. But at the end of the day, I have a short time, and there's lots of other people, but we are celebrating this retirement. It's been a pleasure to work alongside you for years and years and years. And, you know, he started out as a teacher, Kewanee, and where else? Cornell and Kewanee. And through the Department of Public Instruction, he did a great job there. And to all you've accomplished at Gateway Tech, you have consistently demonstrated your commitment to what I consider a universal philosophy to live by, and that's what's best for our kids is what's best for our state. And you have done that. As president and CEO of Gateway Tech, these last 16 years have been a huge part of making not just Gateway Tech, but our state's entire technical college what it is today. Looking back on nearly 2 decades at Gateway, you should be proud of what you and all your colleagues have accomplished. First and foremost, you've been working and helping the education of thousands of students who have helped them find their passions, reach their goals, both professionally and personally. And that impact will live on for our state for generations. And just to connect the dots a little bit here, your leadership around connecting the dots between higher education and K through 12 world, think about this number. In just this part of the state, and I know it has impacted others across the state also, dual enrollment, where somebody gets credit at technical college and gets credit at their local high school. that saved, just in this area of the state, that has saved $4.6 million in tuition for those kids. That is not chump change. That's huge, and what an investment in our future. You've also been an inspirational leader to your faculty and staff, and you've helped the college grow and change to meet the needs of today's workforce and industries. You've been steadfast in your efforts to ensure you're leaving this college in strong shape to continue the good work going forward. Just this last year, we're glad to be able to award Gateway Tech more than $5 million through our Workforce Innovation Grant Program to support your efforts to address regional workforce challenges facing Southeast Wisconsin and break down barriers to keep folks from taking the next step educationally. This mission is indicative of the legacy you've created right here at Gateway. Now we obviously are continuing to search for the right person to take over your lead. I wish them well because they sure do have some impressive shoes to fill. Bryan, thank you so much. Kathy and I wish you the best. Thank you. And I have a proclamation that has a bunch of small words on it. You're a good guy, Bryan. Thank you.
Let's thank the governor one more time for his words. Okay, you may think that Bryan does this on his own, but he does have a group of individuals that help guide him and support him, and that is the College Board of Trustees. Please welcome the chairperson of the Board of Trustees, Rebecca Matoska-Mentink.
Well, good morning, everybody. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I'm their representative as chairman of the board this year, and I'm honored to be here to celebrate Bryan's retirement as he goes through the next chapter in his life with his family. Throughout the morning, you will hear some highlights about Bryan's years as an educator, a teacher, a visionary, and as our Gateway president, all through different lenses. There is not a single board member that won't attest to Bryan's commitment to providing a culturally rich working and learning environment. From my first days on the board, his welcoming spirit was easily embraced and heightened the respect I have for Gateway's administration, staff, and mission. Bryan has provided support and guidance for 221 board meetings, 221 board planning sessions, 64 district and national board meetings. That's over 2,000 hours of board. That's a big wow. But being with Bryan at some of these meetings, I see his energy and assertiveness as unwavering. He listens and, more importantly, responds to ideas from board, staff, faculty, students, and the community about how to improve Gateway's programs, their access, and their services. He is able to bring so many of those ideas to fruition. Bryan takes the time each month to welcome not just trustees, but staff, community partners and guests, and students. He champions the programs offered at Gateway, uplifts the community businesses and corporations that provide those opportunities, applauds the faculty, and extends true appreciation and acknowledgement of the accomplishments of students. His ability to always be a good steward of college resources received from the community, the state and federal, provides for stronger and broader options for students and staff. During his tenure, Gateway has risen to be recognized as a national leader in programs, facility, and industry partnerships. At our district level, we have watched programs and enrollment grow. Under his leadership, community partnerships with high schools and local businesses continue to thrive. This campus alone has over $24 million worth of investment to allow for the ever-changing needs of our students, faculty, and program growth. Bryan, again, will be the first to acknowledge that this all isn't done in a vacuum. He continues to build trusting relationships with not just the board, but his executive leadership team, and he takes countless measures to acknowledge every Gateway employee for the role they play in this experience. The board has and will rely on that leadership and his vision for employee worth to carry forward his ideas into the next administration and standards. This is a wonderful opportunity to express appreciation to all of those that have helped build Bryan's vision. The board again wants to thank you, Bryan, and your entire family for your dedication and energy you put into the Gateway experience over your many years. His time, commitment, and never waning energy and spirit that has brought Gateway to a highly respected higher educational opportunity is truly appreciated. Our community can and should be proud of the way this college operates and invests in the future of all aspects of technical education. Over this past year, as the board has moved forward to the transition in leadership, the term legacy has often been used. The definition of legacy is something that is passed on and can take on many forms. Bryan's legacy is built on his character, his reputation, his ethics, and high standards he sets for himself. I believe that Bryan's legacy at Gateway will include passing on these high standards of his core values as well as his vision and passion for the technical college experience. This legacy was recently recognized by the board's recent decision to award the title of President Emeritus. While this decision was not taken lightly, it caused for little discussion other than for those to take the opportunity once again to expound on his positive impact to Gateway over the years. On behalf of the board, Bryan and Lisa, we hope that you enjoy retirement, making countless memories with your growing family. You will be missed, but not forgotten, and will always be a pleasure to see. Thank you.
That was beautiful. I so appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's great.
Thank you, Becky. There are 16 technical colleges in Wisconsin, and each one of them is unique. We like to think we're pretty special here in southeastern Wisconsin. There is one person that is in charge of the system, and that is Dr. Morna Foy. Morna has been a friend of Bryan for close to 20 years and has watched Bryan grow as a leader from DPI to Gateway. Please welcome our state leader, Dr. Morna Foy.
Good morning, Gateway world. You know, I travel a lot to all the 16 technical colleges, and every time I go to one of them, I say that's my favorite college. You know, I'm a smart. So of course that's true about Gateway today. But honestly, I think in the 22 years that I've worked in the system, but especially the last 10 as its president, I have spent more time on Gateway Technical College campuses and in their facilities than any of the other colleges. And that is because of Bryan and his team, opening the doors, engaging with their colleagues throughout the state. Being a technical college president is a tough job. It's definitely tougher than the one I have. You got a lot of stakeholders. You got a lot of folks who are interested in what you're doing and who want from you all sorts of things. They want your nights to come to events. They want your mornings to deal with the fact that something broke down on campus. They want a lot from our presidents. And the fact that they are public institutions just amplifies that every decision, every action that you take is not just going to be, you don't have to live with the consequences yourself, and your team doesn't have to live with those consequences, but the entire community not only has to live with them, but they're going to know about them, especially the ones that somehow don't go quite right. So when Bryan decided to leave DPI and come to Gateway and eventually be on a track to leadership, I was I mean, I had my doubts, I'll be honest. I mean, I thought, hey. And I'll tell you, it's because I thought, that guy is too nice. He is too nice for that job. And you know, I was wrong because I was unaware at that time, and I have since become clearly aware of the fact that Bryan possesses a superpower. It's not that he's nice, it's that he is endlessly, enthusiastically optimistic. I can say with honesty that I have never met a CEO of anything that loves their job more than Bryan. And it's not just the good things that he loves. It's not just the, ribbon cuttings for new fancy facilities, or hosting parties and events like this one, or getting to hang out with students and wear weird clothes and try to do things that he's never done before, that they're really good at. No, Bryan loves all the parts of the job. He likes going to meetings. I think you just heard about that, and the amount of time he spent to them, including president's meetings, which I got to tell you are pretty dry. But he goes and he participates. He loves answering emails. You have any idea how many emails Bryan Albrecht gets in a day? In a day. I'm thinking hundreds, maybe thousands. 400 a day. And he will be the first person to answer any email that you send. I send out emails all the time to college leaders. A lot of times I don't get any answer back. But Bryan, 24 hours, I start worrying. If I haven't heard from him in 24 hours, I worry that he has been sent to the hospital. Because in my experience, that is the only reason why he will not get back to you immediately. And not just get back to you, but get back with a, yes, I will. Yes, I can. We will work on that. It's always a positive, optimistic viewpoint. He loves, and I just don't get this at all, but Bryan loves meeting a demanding, maybe critical employer in this area and working on a relationship that turns that individual or that company into this college's biggest supporter. And for those employers in this room, you know who you are. You know what you put him through.
He's taking notes, more.
He also loves meeting new people and making new friends, even when that involves relationships that not just didn't exist maybe in the past, but there were good reasons why they were never built. There wasn't a willingness, there wasn't effort. And I'm going to look right at you, Chancellor Ford, but the relationship that Bryan has built with our education partners in this area were out of nothing. And now, again, I can honestly say they are among the strongest that we have in the state and in the country. He is a good friend because he doesn't just talk about working together, he actually works together. That's not that common. And where I admire Bryan most in his love for his job is the way that he actually loves putting this college and all of its resources and its students and its faculty and its employees at the center of finding solutions for this community. This part of the state has been rocked with some really tough things the last decade or two. Economic issues, social issues, a pandemic, and at all of those times, it would have been easy for a public institution and its leader to just sort of circle the wagons, retract, say, you know, we cannot take on one more thing. That's outside of our portfolio of responsibilities. But that's not Bryan. Bryan says the place where I live, the place where I work, and the organization that I lead has a part to play in solving this problem and addressing this need and making this place better. And that is really hard work, and the fact that you love it so much is impressive. So I know that Bryan loves his job, even on crappy days. Even on not the good days. And so I actually am kind of shocked to be standing here at his retirement party, because I thought he's one of those guys who loves his job so much he will never, ever leave. Certainly not before I do. And then I started thinking about it. And if you've hung around him at all recently, you'll know that, you know, you're constantly being bombarded with pictures of his lovely grandson's favorite number 1 and 2, with his, you know, fishing escapades, with Lisa's adventures. I mean, my God, I know more about what you've been doing last year probably than you might know. Again, family, northern Wisconsin, this community, Bryan just loves it. And so that's why I know he's actually not retiring. I mean, he's retiring from Gateway, yes, but he's going on now to do a bunch of other equally important jobs. Grandpa? Fishing champion wannabe. And of course, community servant. I know that is never, ever going to stop. So, Bryan, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for all the support you've given me over the years, and I just hope you have a great time.
Really appreciate all the kind words and your friendship over the years. This has been really meaningful.
Oh, wait.
Thank you, Morna. Now it is my pleasure to introduce the Chairman and Chief Executive of Snap-on, Nick Pinchuk. Over the years, Nick has served his country. Am I on? I know. Oh, there we are. Okay. Over the years, Nick has served his country as an officer in Vietnam, his company in his role as CEO, and the American workforce, a cause in which he has worked side by side with Bryan for over a decade. He has clearly seen Bryan's special role in promoting the partnership of education and industry in pursuit of upskilling Americans across our nation. And he's here to share his perspectives on what Bryan means to all of us. Please welcome Nick Pinchuk.
But Ralph Waldo Emerson said when he was asked about success, he said, to be successful is to know that even one person has lived better because of what you have done. In other words, success is to have made a difference. And Bryan Albrecht is the paragon of such success. He has made a difference for Gateway, for his community, Kenosha in southeast Wisconsin. And I dare say, he has made a difference for this nation we call America. When you look for the roots of such success, you encounter a variety of types of people. First, I think, are contributors. These are people by virtue of their ideas, the strength of their ideas, the brilliance of their ideas, they move the world forward, and Bryan has been like that. He's the person who had the first idea that it would be great for business and schools to get together and create certifications for students so they would match what was needed in the workplace, and such. The National Coalition of Certification Centers was born, and today, over almost 500,000 certifications have been were awarded to almost 250,000 students over almost 1,500 schools from sea to shining sea. He's made a difference based on his ideas. But then if you're not thinking of individuals, you can think of collectives, like if you work on an assembly line, or those of you who have played sports on a sports team, or in a corporation, or in a university, or in a committee. You understand that you work together with people who amplify your efforts, creating together a benefit for yourself and for others that you could not achieve individually. Bryan has done that over and over and over again. During his time here, he served on over 100 boards and important committees, one of which was the American Association of Community Colleges. And he's made a difference there. And the vice president of that organization, the vice president of the organization, Jen Worth, flew here from Washington, D.C. to testify to his importance of the organization. We call those people who create that amplification, we call them colleagues. And then there's another type of success that comes from anointing or selecting or electing people to represent a group or an organization or jurisdictions, CEO, college presidents, or elected officials who in effect represent us, represent that particular group, moving it forward in the world and in where it wants to go, benefiting those people who are in that group. Bryan has done that. We call those people advocates. And Bryan has been an advocate for Gateway. I almost made a mistake there. I'm looking at that swallow here. Okay, thank you. He has been an advocate for Gateway. He convinced S.C. Johnson to partner with Gateway in the IMET Center, greatly expanding the educational footprint of Gateway and adding things like the Fab Lab, which is nationally recognized, and it's a place, I guess, where you can make just about anything. And then, by his insight and his passion, he enlisted no fewer than 25 national corporations to build education and business partners with Gateway, also increasing his business. He was a gifted advocate. But then, there are unique and special people. These are people who set a different standard, who chart a direction for a greater whole, expanding the horizon, not limiting itself to the people they represent or put them in place or select or elected them. They reach out to a wider whole. These beacons do not trade action for support so they can stay in their job. These are people who pursue causes that are for the common good, in which we all can share. And we call those people leaders. Bryan Albrecht is such an individual. He is the leader who has recognized the need for upskilling the American workforce and for driving the cause that will make it so. He saw that America has benefited from the brilliance of the few, but he perceived that America is ascendant because of the efforts of the many, the people of work. He knows that we have a recent demonstration of that fact, engaging the existential threat of the COVID, where working men and women stood firm at their post, keeping our society from disintegrating while we engaged and defeated the COVID. As America maintains and expands its ascendance, it will be delivered by the seminal task of upskilling the American workforce, and Bryan Albrecht will have lit the way, lit the path. This is true. And as we stand here today, we are many have come to honor Bryan. But I can tell you that even as we sit here and attend this event, we bear the grateful proxies of many others, many, many others, thousands upon thousands of people who have been, people who Bryan, some of which never knew. Those who were beyond the reach of his arm and beyond the sound of his voice. But those who, like us all, benefited directly from his effort. So Bryan Albrecht, he has made a difference and will continue to make a difference, I hope. He is a contributor based on the brilliance of his ideas. He has been a colleague and a teammate, amplifying the impact of the group, any group he serves on. He has been an advocate, moving forward the fortunes of his school. And most of all, he has been a leader for all of us, creating our nation's now and enabling the American future. Bryan Albrecht, he's a friend, he's a visionary, and he's an inspiration. And you know it's true. Bryan, we have a couple of gifts for you here. First, Snap-on is going to endow a legacy fund in the name of Bryan Albrecht to support the upskilling of the American workforce. But most importantly, thank God it's not funded by his winnings at the track. Or lack thereof. I think he went there last year with the goal of winning $1,000. He was about 2,000 short. Okay, what we have here for you is a gift made to you on behalf of the people of work all over this nation. It's a tool storage box adorned with things we think will be quite meaningful for you. So a tool storage box, let's unveil here. This is a box. I've been upstaged.
We are very lucky in southeastern Wisconsin to have so many institutions of higher education. And through the years, the leaders of these colleges took the time to get to know one another and to find meaningful ways to partner. Please welcome Chancellor Debbie Ford from UW Parkside and President John Swallow from Carthage College.
I'm glad we had a bit of an interlude between Nick Pinchuk and me. I was asking myself as he was talking, how did I end up following Nick Pinchuk? I thought I'd give just a few very personal reflections. Bryan Albrecht is one of those people that simply inspires, and we've heard a lot about that. We've heard a lot about the fact that he does the work, that he demonstrates the success, that he represents the community, that he advocates, that he amplifies. And I know that when we think about that, all of us here in this room, we are feeling, yes, a sense of celebration and deep gratitude, but if you're like me, it's also a sense of loss at this moment. When I think of a moment that represents how the three of us have been together, the moment I think of, as small as it might seem, is when we're in the radio room at WGTD at Gateway, and we've been invited to talk about what's going on in southeastern Wisconsin with education. And there is just something about his optimism, his excitement, his enthusiasm, but that genuine humility and collaboration. He is just as excited about what is happening at the University of Wisconsin Parkside and Carthage as Gateway. He always wants us to do more all together, and it just comes right through. That's actually the moment I will remember most. He's a leader, he's been a mentor to me, he's been a friend, he's been easygoing, but laser focused at the same time. I think many of us here are trying to figure out the mystery, the genius, the secret. What is it? What is it that makes Bryan Albrecht? And if I could, I thought I would read a few lines from a poem that I think starts to get at it. This is from Rudyard Kipling's If. if you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run and 400 emails a day, then yours is the earth and all that is in it. That gets closer and closer to Bryan. But if I had to name it, if I had to name what it is about Bryan Albrecht that inspires me and inspires, I believe, many, many of us here, and is the secret for how he lifts up this whole region, I would say it's that, at least for me, we see in his leadership our best selves. We see the qualities that we want for ourselves and the people around us. And so, yes, in that radio interview room, I saw how I wanted to be Bryan Albrecht. Thank you, Bryan.
Well, I am so honored to be here representing the University of Wisconsin-Parkside and certainly representing a legacy-building partnership and collaboration with Dr. Bryan Albrecht. We truly are collaborators because we see the value of our work as leaders in higher education to make our communities better and to provide opportunities for even more students to earn a university degree, certificate, or credential. So that is why we work so well together. So I certainly could not say all of my words, so I did pen an op-ed that Bryan had a chance to read earlier today called Colleague, Partner, and Friend. So I hope you too will take a look at that. And then we've posted a number of photos from many of the times that Bryan and I had together. But as I reflected on our relationship over the past 13 plus years since I arrived in Wisconsin, I thought of two things that I wanted to focus on. First, it is how Bryan makes you and us feel. I remember when Bryan first reached out, within the first few weeks of when I started as chancellor in August of 2009, he was one of the first people to welcome me to Wisconsin and to make sure that we talked about what it is we could do together, not separate. And Bryan does that all the time. So no matter if we were at an event, which we've been to hundreds together, we were at board meetings, which we serve on many groups together, or if we were in individual meetings or certainly on the radio program, he always took time to introduce me to new people. And I know he does that for each of you. So I invite you to think about how Bryan not only made you feel and makes you feel, but I also want you to think about how he connects you to others, because it truly is the web of relationships, because he knows as a leader he cannot do it alone. So thank you for making us feel and for us being able to be our true, authentic selves. So thank you for that. The other thing that I want to talk about, and I have so many things I could talk about with our relationship, is Bryan's laser focus and visionary commitment for student success. As I said, Bryan and I serve on a number of boards together, and it does not matter what the focus of that board is. Could be Campus Compact, could be the economic development boards, both here in Racine, Kenosha, Milwaukee, and Northern Illinois, because we do serve on some of those together. It could be the Mahone Fund. But every single meeting, every single opportunity, it comes back to what do we need to do to advance the success of the students we have the honor to serve. That is his passion, and that comes across in everything that he does. So Bryan, thank you for being a champion of student success. Thank you for being a role model, a friend, a colleague, and a phenomenal partner. All the best as you begin this retirement.
I have a story about mascots that Debbie didn't want me to tell today, so we took this picture without mascots this time.
Thank you, Debbie and John, for those words. It's always fun to hear how others view you,
Yeah,
right?
yes,
It must be
it's
interesting
very
to
fun.
sit in that seat today. But Bryan has been the model for the impact that one person can have on a community. He has served, as we've heard, on a great number of boards and commissions over the years. And with us today are Allie Haig, the CEO of the United Way of Racine County, and Tim Mahone, the chairman of the Mahone Fund. Please welcome Allie and Tim.
Hey, Bryan. Good. Are we afternoon? Not quite. Good morning, everybody. Oh, Bryan, we love you. On behalf of partners, community partners, Bryan is literally a dream, okay? He shows up, he participates, but the best part is that when you ask him for something, he usually says yes, which is great. This is especially useful when you're seeking financial support, to the surprise of Stephanie Skilba and her team. I'm sorry, Stephanie. Which also reminds me, I do need to follow up with you on a couple things before you retire.
We're happy to help.
Always saying yes. In all seriousness, he is the one person in this room, in any room, who is guaranteed not to have an ego. But if you've had the opportunity to work with him, you wonder how he doesn't have one. I mean, he's amazing. He's amazing. He is the epitome of servant leadership, fueled by collaboration and rising others up. One of the first times that I met Bryan was soon after I became a VP at United Way. I was invited to the Kenosha campus to do a tour, and I was very excited. And so he greeted me, and after a very long, very thorough review of Gateway's 100-year history, we went on a tour of the campus. And one of the first things that I noticed about you, Bryan, is that every single staff person that walked past us, he greeted by name. 1, 2, I'm like, that's great. He knows their names. 10, 15, 20, 25, every single person. It was amazing. And at that time, I kind of came to realize the type of leader that you are, and throughout that meeting. You take the time to see people, you take the time to listen, and you take the time to help. And when you talk about golden standards for partnerships, that is what you're looking for. You are the golden standard. At our office, we have a couple of people in the community that everybody admires, and surprise, Bryan is one of those individuals. I have heard the phrase within our walls more than once, when I grow up, I want to be Bryan, and I may or may not have said that myself on occasion. I am grateful to have had the opportunity to work and learn from you. And on behalf of United Way of Racine County and the Racine community, I want to thank you for being such a great champion for Gateway Technical College and the communities it calls home. I can honestly say that they are better because you have been part of them. And that is a legacy you should be truly proud of, Bryan. Thank you and congratulations.
Well, good morning, everyone. I wanted to, what a tremendous outpouring of support for Bryan, right? Let's just give just a big, thunderous round of applause. It was really funny. I was going to be out of town. I was asked to say a few words, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be here. And I thought, okay, I'm going to be one of a couple speakers. Well, thank you for putting us, after Nick, after the governor, after so what else is there left to say about Bryan, right? And I just am so grateful to be asked to be part of such a tremendous celebration of his legacy of leadership, of commitment to people. I certainly have some words here, but it's often hard to not speak from the heart of an individual who gives of himself like Bryan does, right? I will say a few things from here, but I thought what was funny was, Bryan, as you heard, collects a lot of checks, right? So I'm walking into the room and I'm seeing the list. I'm like, well, there's Governor Evers, there's Nick. There's going to be some checks floating around here today, so I'm not sure what's going on. There's going to be some checks between the two. But clearly, Bryan has manifested great leadership here. And I just have to say, Bryan, when we were building the Mahone Fund, and my board members here, and thank you for your support, I looked at Bryan and I said, Bryan, we need some help in growing the Mahone Fund. We want to make a difference in the community just like my parents did. And Bryan looked at me and said, what do you want to do? What do we have to do? I said, I want to make an impact. I'm not certain how to get there. How do we build this infrastructure so that our kids, not for me, but in the name of my parents, how do we help our kids create more access to college, more affordable health care? Bryan stepped up, and for the last 15 years, she's been the board president for the Mahone Fund. And I want to thank you for your friendship, Bryan. I want to thank you for your mentorship, for the opportunity for our family and my parents' legacy to be perpetuated 300 and some odd kids later through scholarships. My dad has an atrium named after him because of Bryan's leadership and our board's leadership to create more access for students. My dad was a retired welder from Gateway, and we need more welders. We need more welders of color. And Bryan said we can make that happen. We stood up, our board stood up, and Bryan said we're going to get it done. We have a matriculation agreement with Parkside, again, to create more access and affordability for our students, not just students of color, all students, so the opportunity can be manifested, just like Bryan has across the region. So I'm thrilled to be here because I get to tell everybody how impactful he has been in my life personally, as I have grown. But you know what you also did? You introduced Allie and I, right? And so it's ironic that both of us are here as community leaders, that next generation leadership, that mission servant leadership that you provide all of us. So thank you for connecting us, because now we're making a difference as you pass the torch on to us. And as you've done for so many people, as a strategic collaborator, bringing so many diverse stakeholders together, tapping into the strengths that each and every one of us have to make a difference for the empowerment of the community. That's exactly what Bryan does. It's exactly what Nick said that Bryan does, because we know he does that. So we know Bryan is a very mission-driven individual. He lends his unique skill set to weave together a network or a mosaic of people and organizations to create greater good. There's a legacy left behind, Bryan, and you will transition and move on. And the list of organizations that you have impacted, well, we could probably have a whole separate party for that group of people. But we all stand here on behalf of those folks that you've impacted, that you've created structure, courageously, but selfishly. You are a superstar, no doubt. You are a superstar, no doubt. But can I do one thing? The reason you're a superstar, because you have led a super leadership team. And those of us who get support from your leadership team in the nonprofit world, all the boards you sit on, I personally want to say thank you to Bryan's leadership team, because they forced me to get the doctor. There's the leadership change coming, and I just want to give a quick shout out to Zena Haywood. Zena, thank you for your leadership in this district, and we appreciate you very much. So today we salute a president, a son, a husband, a father, grandfather, brother, a mentor, a friend, sports enthusiast, a fisherman, an educator, a businessman, and a community advocate. Please join me. Let's all stand. Please join me in saluting Bryan Albrecht.
The work of the foundation is extremely important to the success of the college, and this has been very important to Bryan over the years. And we have seen the foundation grow, our donors increase, and our partnerships flourish. So please welcome Mark Molinaro, the chair of the Gateway Technical College Foundation Board.
As you can imagine, Bryan, I was not fully paying attention when Stephanie reached out. I thought this was supposed to be about me today. I won't need this. But as you've taught me, I was fully prepared in case something changed, so I have some notes about Bryan.
You need to borrow my glasses?
So I'll be all right. I start out this way today because I want to get to 2 points about Bryan in a moment, which sum up what I think is the relationship that I've had with you, that I think so many have had and that the community has had. Before that, I want to talk about the relationship with the foundation. I've been fortunate to be part of working with Bryan over the years, in my involvement in the foundation for many years. That partnership that you've had, the support you've given the foundation, on behalf of all the foundation board of directors, we appreciate everything that you've done. The foundation is in the best shape it's ever been in. We've helped more students over the years. We've provided more scholarships. We have more involvement from the community, from people that want to support the students of Gateway in their education. Our foundation, our endowments are higher than they've ever been. And on behalf, again, of the foundation board, we support you and we thank you. We couldn't have done it without you, so we appreciate that. Secondly, I've been involved with Bryan through my architectural firm. I think one of my business partners is here today, Tom Somewhere, I believe. Jeff Breidelman, the guy that runs the entire show, is out in California with his family this week, so he's not here, Bryan, but he sends his regards. You talk about Bryan being a visionary. He understands that it isn't just about what the students need to succeed in the classroom, but it's physically what they need to succeed on campus. We've been fortunate enough to help the wannabe architect over here to my left, who I have napkin sketches. I have emails, is Moina still here? Moina, I have emails in the middle of the night, which occasionally I would respond to if it was necessary, of these really well done concepts of how we can transform some space on campus. So everything that we've been involved in for your entire tenure here, Bryan, we couldn't be more thankful for that and appreciative for one reason and one reason only, which is the support of the kids. In the end, the environments that we've helped you create, you've allowed us to create on your behalf, on the behalf of the college, give the students the environment to succeed, and we couldn't be more proud of that. So thank you for that. The 2 points I want to leave you with is this. Bryan and I have played in many, many golf outings, the same golf outing, but not together. You're getting ready to take a shot. You're in your backswing. You're follow through. You're over a putt. It's nonstop to the point where he pulls his phone out to show you an instructional video on how to hit the golf ball. My point to that is this. Bryan and I have shared a lot of laughs, and probably in some settings that maybe it wasn't entirely appropriate. But if you didn't laugh, didn't have a smile on your face when you were with Bryan, you made that conscious decision not to laugh that day, and that's a loss, and that's something you missed out on. More importantly, Bryan has created some incredible friendships. I consider you a friend, Bryan. I always have. You've made some incredible friendships at Gateway, the broader community, the state, and beyond. If you are someone who is not a friend of Bryan Albrecht after having met him just one time, you've also made a conscious decision not to be a friend of Bryan Albrecht's, and that's a phenomenal loss. Bryan, I appreciate everything that you've done on behalf of, again, the foundation, all of us at Partners in Design Architects. We appreciate everything that you've done for the community, for the college, and beyond. Congratulations. I'm waiting for a fishing lure. I'll send you a sketch, and we'll go from there.
But the work that we do is all to help our students succeed, not only here at Gateway, but also in our communities. And Bryan spends hours on the campuses and with our students so that he gets to know them. There is no one better to share next than Megan Barr. So many of us have watched Megan over the years grow and become a leader herself. Please welcome Megan Barr.
This is really awkward going last because I thought this was a roast. Luckily, I couldn't find anything bad to say about him, so I think we're good. Thank you for having me here today. It's an absolute honor to be speaking among all of these amazing leaders and to be celebrating someone who I consider a great friend and mentor. Bryan has had an immense impact on different sectors within our community and state as a whole. I'm so excited to share how Bryan has impacted Gateway students. I'd like to start with sharing some numbers for you. During Bryan's 16 years as college president, he awarded 563 apprenticeships, 9,889 certificates, 11,818 associate degrees, and 22,908 technical diplomas. You don't need to add that up because I already did. 45,178. The quantity of students Bryan impacted is amazing, but what's even more amazing is how exactly he impacted their lives. I met Bryan in the spring semester of 2020 when I received his family scholarship and again when I became the 2020 District Ambassador for Gateway. I was incredibly nervous during this time, unsure about if I could actually become the voice of students. Bryan barely knew me at the time, but made sure I knew he was proud of me and that I was right where I was supposed to be. As I've gotten to know Bryan over the years, it was his leadership and encouragement that encouraged me to embark on the journey I'm currently on to become a college administrator. I know that if I'm even half the leader that Bryan has been, then my students will be incredibly lucky. I could speak about how Bryan has impacted my life all day. Instead, I want to share about what some other students had to say about his leadership. Bryan will forever have a lasting impact on my life because of the champion he is. While he is a champion in his own right, what makes him so special is that he is an altruistic champion. He has always selflessly focused his energy on the betterment of other people here at Gateway and in the community. For that, I will forever remember Bryan, the champion he has been for all of us, and the impact he has made on our lives. Nicole Oberlin, 2022 Gateway District Ambassador. Bryan has always been the example to follow, deeply invested in the success of students and always willing to listen. He always kept us thinking forward, inspiring us to take the next step. It is truly a talent how he could make the smallest interaction possible life-changing moment. It is with a heavy heart that I wish him the absolute best in retirement, but it also fills my heart to know he will now get to reflect on his investment in students, staff, and the community as a whole. Jesus Vega Jr., 2021 Gateway District Ambassador. Bryan Albrecht means so much more to me than words can ever express. During the worst time in not just my life, but my family's life, Bryan was there. He was on another continent and was still worried about me and mine. Bryan is more than a leader. He is the first man outside of my family that not only recognized my potential, but showed he cared with no strings attached. Bryan is an amazing human who will always have a special place in my heart, as he is one of the reasons I strive to be an amazing human every day. Angie Haney, 2019 Gateway District Ambassador. I don't think I could sum up Bryan's impact on students any better than those students just did. From all the Gateway Technical College students and alumni, past and present, thank you, Bryan.
Well, here we are, right? Here we are. I do want to say that earlier this week, we actually had a conversation, and one of the things that you wondered during that conversation was, what did I do here? And I think we heard that today. Everyone shared their stories about what you did here for Gateway Technical College. And there were so many more that we could have invited to share a few words, but we truly would have been here for a really, really long time. But I hope that you heard today stories about a man that we all know, and that you nodded your head in agreement with something that was said, and maybe smiled because you thought, me too, I feel that same way. Or maybe you even heard something about Bryan that you didn't know. And what I heard were the many stories of impact, the stories of leadership, the stories of friendship, and the stories of someone who made a difference. I can tell you that he did not expect to land in southeastern Wisconsin and then to stay as long as he did. But I will say that I'm glad he came to my hometown. I am glad he did not turn his back when being the college president wasn't as glamorous as he thought it was, or when things got hard, but rather he dug in a little deeper to figure out how to make things better. And that is what Bryan did. He made things better. And he also made many of us really tired. I mean, really, really tired, right? But he made us think differently. He made us look outward at the students and the communities that we serve. He made us look inward at ourselves and at each other. He made a difference. So it is my pleasure to ask Bryan, my boss, my colleague, my mentor, and my dear, dear friend, to share a few words.
Wow. First of all, Mark, I made some notes this time, so I don't go too far off track here a little bit. Stephanie, thank you for an amazing morning. What an experience for me, something I will never forget because they're videotaping it. So, of course, that probably isn't even true in today's world. It's probably not videotaped, is it? Thank you to everyone that is here today and everyone that's online listening. This has been something that certainly I didn't think would be possible, that people would come out and celebrate all the little things you do every day. And Kelly, you were right. We should have a party. I wasn't always going to have an event for my retirement, and Kelly and Liz said we should do something. We should celebrate this. People will want to come out and thank you. And what a tribute it's been to all of our fantastic guest speakers. Nick, this is absolutely remarkable. A legacy for our family for sure. I see little Bryan eyeing it up. He's probably going to put his carrot sticks in it later this morning. But the endowment of the scholarship in order to help young people pursue their passion in life, that's what this is all about. That's why we're all here together. So thank you for that. I'm always inspired by your words and your wisdom that you bring to our community in any venue that you speak of. And I'm going to really have time to practice my betting on horses now. So I've got some key people in the audience that'll help me learn a little bit more about that. Debbie and John, our friendship is so meaningful and has helped me become a better president here at Gateway Technical College. And you're absolutely right. I'm a big fan of everything that both of your institutions represent because our students are one and the same. Megan's now a student at UW Parkside. So that makes me very happy to know that as a community we value higher education. So thank you for being with us today. Allie and Tim, I mean, I love what nonprofits represent for our community. Without them, we wouldn't have a community. I've often said, Allie, that without you, there's no United Way, right? You can't spell United Way without you. And so each one of us have to think about what role we can play within our community to better support organizations like the Mahone Fund or the United Way or any of the organizations that you are most passionate about. I've been honored and fortunate over the years to be exposed to many of them. 100 in this region, but more than that across the nation. And everyone can use a little help every once in a while. So if you can get behind, volunteer, participate in some way, maybe make a financial contribution, it makes a difference in many different ways. Becky, on behalf of our Board of Trustees, both present ones and past, I see Roger is back with us again. Thanks for your continued support and guidance and leadership. No one can thrive in a role like this without an amazing community network of support led by the Board of Trustees. They were willing to take risks the very early in my career when I didn't know exactly what I was doing, and they continue to be a risk taker and to encourage me to think about new ways to offer services to our college. So it has completely transformed, as you mentioned. It's not the same college as it was 16 years ago. And I know that the work that the board is doing right now to select the next president understands that. And it will not be the same college 6 years from now, nor 6 months from now. It will be a better college because our community values the role that Gateway plays. You demonstrated by coming out today. You will make Gateway a better college than it is today with your continued advocacy, awareness, and understanding of the impact that you have on our students. You heard many examples of that today. Mark, led by our foundation, those real-life examples happen within the foundation. And we've not only extended and expanded from 16 years ago, our foundation was about $800,000. It's about $15 million right now and growing. I think there'll be some other announcements coming forward. We made that investment strategically with the leadership of the foundation board to make sure that we had an endowment process in place that would carry a legacy forward beyond any of our lifetimes here, like the Gateway Promise program, one of the first in the nation to celebrate the idea that everyone should have access to higher education. And that is some of the things that I'll take with me that I'll remember for a very, very long time. You heard from Megan today. Megan, thank you. I'm such a big fan of yours, and I love it when your mom emails me and lets me know what you're doing. That's great. She can stop now because you're well on your way to success. But you chose to share student stories today. That was so special. You never really know how many people you impact, although the other day I got a congratulations retirement note from a high school student that I taught a long time ago at Kewanee High School. And he reminded me that I was there for him then, and it's amazing that he's here for me now. So you just never really know the impact you make. And I think the role of the foundation and the student voice is changing the way that we think about student success. And that's so great to have with us. Morna, thank you for coming all the way out here. You're always welcome at Gateway. I know that we've worked a lot together over the years and solved a lot of problems. And no one solves a problem alone, right? You've challenged us early on about how do we transform Gateway, how do we make better strategic investments, and with your support and leadership of your entire team, of which some of them are here today, we've been able to do that. But because of the support of your leadership, the state board's leadership, and I should mention that one of the state board members is here as well. So representing the Wisconsin Technical College's student voice is Miss Megan Barr. Congratulations, Megan. We're really proud of that. If I'm right, Zena, it's the first student voice at the state board level that Gateway had, right? Megan's the first one, I believe, the first representative. So we're really grateful for that. And of course, Governor Evers, what a busy schedule he has all the time, and he makes time to come back and celebrate our community. And oftentimes he makes announcements about investments, but today he made a personal visit, and that is really, really very special to me. Just as all of your personal visits here today are. I could go on and on and on with thanking each individual person here because each of you have changed me personally and the life that I've been able to lead here at Gateway Technical College. Just as our college is not the same as it was 16 years ago, and nor am I. I am different today. I have a deeper understanding of the importance of a community college like Gateway and the opportunities it can provide for our community through our nonprofit sector, through our outreach into the community-based organizations, to making sure we're aligned with industry, aligned with our higher education partners. All of those are different today than when I started. You know, you go into a job, you think you know what you're supposed to do, right, Nick? And then after time, you meet enough people that do it every day. The American worker, right? And you change your thought process on what it is that you can do to help support the people that do all the lifting. And that's all of the team members here at Gateway. Our administrative team, our leadership team, our executive assistant team, our faculty, our staff, our students, our volunteers, our professional support staff, our facility team, our marketing department, all those that help make today possible. The beautiful plants that you have are from our horticulture department. Soon you will enjoy treats from our culinary department. You'll get a chance to go in the back and, yes, make a fishing lure from our Fab Lab. And I could go on and on and on. Every one of those have made an amazing impression on what role Gateway plays in helping build our economy, but also be there in its time of need. You heard some really important examples today, COVID being one of those, right? Those of you that stood in line to get your COVID shot, did you ask the nurse where she went to school, where he went to school? I bet it was Gateway Technical College. First time you saw the streets empty and law enforcement protecting us, I bet it was a Gateway Technical College trained law enforcement official. If you've ever had a crisis in your family where you had to call an EMT or a fire paramedic, I bet it was a Gateway Technical College graduate. The list goes on and on and on of the impact that our students make in our community, and that's what I like to celebrate, and that's what I would like us to focus on for my comments today. I do want to thank some people, though, that have really made today's event very special, and that's the event planning team. There are many people on that team. Thank you. I know you worked for weeks on all of this. I would walk into the office and Liz would say, I'll have to get back to you. I know what that was about. You were making plans. We needed to have some treats going. I get it. I know all that. I played dumb, though. I walked in my office and said, well, call me when you have time. Yeah, we did that. Got to thank the entire, look at everyone over there, the students that are all preparing your snacks for you today. They're amazing. They do such a great job. So I've cut hair in our cosmetology program. I made flowers for a wedding one time. I gave blood to a nurse that never stuck a needle in a person's arm before. It took 4 times, Vicki, but we got it done, and I'm a better person for it now. I do ask the phlebotomist now where they went to school before I get my blood drawn every once in a while. Little Bryan and I rode in a fire truck a couple weeks ago. He's a deputy law enforcement officer at Gateway. You'll see some pictures in a little while. I've tried to experience Gateway as much as I did lead Gateway. And that's what I would like to invite all of you to do. We're going to have some tours later, but don't worry about the tour. As you're thinking about what life means, try to find a way to experience it. Come see what one of our clubs are doing. See what the International Education Program, where are they going? How can you help support those students make that extra effort in their life's journey? We can all experience Gateway in different ways. I also want to just thank everyone in our Board of Trustees that continues to solidify the values of my life's work in the memories here that I have at Gateway, throughout Wisconsin, and across the nation. 38 years in public education, there's a lot to remember. I remember my first days teaching. I remember the extraordinary work we did at the Department of Public Instruction. I remember thousands of miles of travel back and forth. I remember the 19 years here at Gateway Technical College, and all of those memories solidify that it was a good life's work choice, that my career has been fulfilling for me, rewarding hopefully for those that I served, and most importantly, something that I think has added value to the lives of others. So I'm grateful for the kind words and friendships of all of those that were able to share it today. But I would be remiss if I didn't say a little bit about my family. Some of them are here today. So Lisa, 38 years of traveling, no weekends, lots of speeches, late night events, a lot of chicken dinners. Are you ready for this one? What do you want to do for dinner? I have like nothing on my schedule. You're probably going to get tired of that. Thank you for allowing me to pursue my life's work in the way that I did, with all of the events, conferences, meetings, and things that we tried to do to help build a stronger community. For Alyssa and Anthony and little Brian and Logan, hopefully you've met them. If you've not, please do. I know I'm ready to spend more time with you learning from the enthusiasm of your life. I know how excited you are to see where Logan and Brian go, just as Lisa are excited to see that as well. Every day is a complete joy. We wake up asking, I wonder what Logan and Brian are going to do at school today. So the first stop on the way into the office, where do I go? Every child's place. Yep, Ginny, Kara, thanks for being here. I know you're just checking in because Brian's not at school today. The daycare is located underneath my office, so we get a chance to spend a lot of time there to say hi to the boys. And Brian, check it out. We're going to get some new tools. What do you think of that, huh? He's my tool man. We spend a lot of time in the shop together. Gary, Catherine, Mike, and Lori, Melissa, and Harold, thank you for making the trip and being here. I know it's a long trip sometime, but hopefully, what we think about each other and our families, that shining a light on my career goes way beyond the campus walls of Gateway Technical College. Probably the person that is the most well-versed in the history of Gateway now is Harold Sporky, my 94-year-old father-in-law. On Fridays, I would get to pick him up in Wapak on Fridays. We've got an hour and a half drive, and I get to tell him everything I did this week at Gateway Technical College. To be honest with you, I don't think he hears really well, so I don't know if he if he really knows what I'm telling him, but he does have a slight connection to Gateway. Many, many, many years ago, his wife Helen took a class at Gateway Technical College. Who would have known, right? Who would have known? So glad you're here and glad you get a chance to experience the campus as well. So my journey, you've heard, I started at Cornell High School, went off to Kewanee High School, absolutely loved it, went to the Department of Public Instruction, the Wisconsin Technical College System. My goal when I came to Gateway, Morna, you were right, my goal was to try out higher education. Now, nearly 2 decades later, it's kind of worked out. I liked it. And I think that's important about careers, right? You have to try new things, and you have to just find your place and then build your network. There's no magic formula for career success, and I've been blessed to be able to leverage all of the knowledge and experience that you and others have brought to me to build that ladder. But I do want to say thank you to our faculty, the many of them that are here today and across the years, to our administration, our staff. They've shared their talents, their strengths for our students, our employers, our community-based partners, and not a single day has gone by that I took for granted. The hard work that you do does change lives. In fact, it is the only thing that changes lives. When we give of ourselves for others, it can be in the classroom, it can be in support services, it can be in administration, but each day you are changing lives. In fact, one thing to remember that makes Gateway special is that it is the gateway for tens of thousands of students, youth and adults. It becomes a transformational point, a point in their life where they've made a personal commitment to better themselves through education. And all of the team members that support that in the various work that you do here, you're the ones that are making that possible for them. So I thank you for that. To my leadership team, the Executive Leadership Council, the ELC, the ones that are here today, and some that have just recently retired from Gateway, I leave you with this, with the warmth of a flame in my heart for each of you, that your hope will continue to shine on you as you turn the page in history and open a new chapter at Gateway Technical College. Each one of you have been steadfast in your support for me and champions for students we serve. It's not an easy job to be the president or the chancellor or the president. You have to surround yourself with good people in our community, in leadership roles, but also people that you have confidence in and that you can confidentially share the challenges, and they'll help you find solutions for it. So thank you very much to the executive leaders that have served with me. And of course, to our executive team in our office, Kelly, Liz, and Mary's here as well. It must be time for us to go out to lunch. I saw Julie here also. So many people have helped me with the day-to-day operations. And it's not easy juggling a lot of different responsibilities and boards and trying to meet the expectations of being on campus. And they just have been a remarkable partner with me in helping achieve success here at the college. And to our student body, you're the reason we're all here. You're the reason we're here. A community of grateful educators, business partners, and community leaders that are dependent on your dream to achieve a college degree. You serve as an inspiration for all of us that there is a stronger community out there. So thanks to the tens of thousands of students that chose Gateway and those that will choose it in the future. You're making a choice of opportunity that will lead to future success. And thanks to all our friends that are here today for this amazing day. I'm going to leave you with one simple thought, and I bet you can all guess it's about fishing. So I've thought a lot about fishing because my brother-in-law Mike has been my mentor in that sport, helping me understand that you don't catch fish every day. So a man nor a woman does not fish simply to catch fish, but rather to align his or her spirit with the essence of life. So what you do gives you an opportunity to create a spirit that can be influencing others. So whether it's as simple as going out on the lake and casting a line, trying to help your grandkids or other kids understand the value of life, you hold that power within you every day. So please take the opportunity to go fishing. So for me, it's time for me to go fishing. So I will say thank you all very much, and thank you, Gateway. Thank you.